Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Adam Finch Show. I am Adam Finch, and I'm your host. I wanted to come on here and do kind of a longer form video on some stuff I've recently been talking about, and that is buying back your time. If you're a fan of Dan Martell, you follow him on social media. You'll hear a lot about that, buy back your time and how to do things more efficiently. And I just want to go back and just kind of talk about how, when I look back now, I actually see that I've always kind of had that principle in mind. And there's the quote of if you want to do something fast, give it to a lazy person. Now, although the hustle and the grind and all the work I put in is laborious and obviously a lot of work to do, every time I do something, I always want to try and find the fastest and most efficient way to do something. As a kid, I hated playing like long video games, for instance. I like playing things like Mario Kart or sports games. Just because I just didn't want to sit there and just play. It's just a monotony of doing something over and over and over again. Or you could do a race or play a fighting game. I love doing that stuff. But I want to talk about when I started working. So I started working at McDonald's when I was 15. And that, for me, that was such a great place for me to start working. And just because I love just my personality, I love structure. I love standard operating procedures. I love KPIs, key performance indicators. I love ways that I can measure my success easily. And I mean, I played baseball growing up, but I started working out when I was in high school, going to the gym, and then I started doing stuff like running. Did some marathons and half marathons and 5Ks, 10Ks. And I love being able to challenge myself to continually do better and then find faster ways of doing things. I trained for a virtual triathlon last year. It was 1,500 meter swim, 40K bike ride, 10K run. So I was just trying to figure out like how's the most efficient. I learned to swim real fast because that like what and same with running too. Like you try to run so much fast because it's just such a monotonous thing, but it's also a great challenge to be able to overcome something like that and achieve success. Just touch on something else I heard recently. It was Jordan Peterson was on a Diary of a CEO podcast, and he talked about how you always want to make sure that you're a warrior chasing the horizon uphill, and you're always just searching for the next goal. So if you don't have that goal, you kind of lose sight and you just kind of just flounder around. And a lot of people I think are like that, where they start a job and they just have no drive to do anything more than what they are. So for me, I mean, at fitness, that was a big thing too. Like I just remember I ran a half marathon. I just started with doing a 5K and then a 10K and then I did a half marathon. And uh, every time I would reach these milestones, though, there was kind of like a depression afterwards because I didn't have something else in mind of where I was going to go. So relating this back to work, I started working at McDonald's when I was 15, and of course, like I said, I loved that structure that was there. I was applauded for the hard work I put in, and like when I start a job like that, I aspire to be the highest, right? So I'm thinking, how can I get to become there? They got crew trainers, and then I forget what they call the middle thing, and then you can turn into managers and store managers. And even though necessarily like my dream wasn't to run a McDonald's, I was constantly thinking, how could I get to that point where I could run that McDonald's if I wanted to? And I had some really good managers that were there, and one of them said that whatever you do, you should always think about how would you train someone to do this job, because it's just like in school. If you have a hard time learning something, if you can teach somebody about it or tell somebody about it, then you have a lot better chance of remembering it. And like I have severe obsessive compulsive about a lot of things, and I can just I learn something and I want to tell somebody about it, even if they don't care in their anything about it. Which is why I have such a great wife, because she'll sit there and listen to me ramble on about video games or sports or wrestling or work or power tools. She doesn't care. Like she'll just listen to it, and then. But for me, I got to get that information out. But then it's stuck in my brain, and I've got a weird thing with numbers too that I can remember. I hate this when I read someone's license plate, and then that number drives my mind wild because so I try not to look at license plates because I have that thing. But like I was talking about, is that I'm always trying to do something better and grow and learning how would you teach somebody about that. So I was getting off track there a little bit. So I remember just being at like McDonald's, 15, 16-year-old, and thinking like, I'm pulling stuff from the basement stock room, and I'm thinking like, how would I tell somebody how to do this job? But at the same time, also, I was always told that you should always continually strive to find better ways to do something or more efficient ways to do something. So it's like, cool, like let's go to McDonald's. I can carry 1 box of fries up. But what if I could carry 2 boxes of fries up? I get the job done in half the time. It's kind of like bringing the groceries in, and you see the memes, and it's true. Man, I see I try to figure out how many bags of groceries. Like, can I get this in 2 trips? Can I get this in 1 trip? Can we do a trip and a half? Pile up between me and my wife, and we're all carrying a bunch of things inside. But that in itself is like those mini challenges that I was talking about, with fitness, just trying to like make a goal and set a goal. How can you become more efficient? Obviously, when you can become more efficient, then you're able to learn more and more about the business that you're working in. And then, so from there, I went to school. I also learned about this too. It's funny talking about the whole laziness thing. We get into college, and the teacher said, like, AutoCAD, for instance, and computer design, that is primo for anyone who's lazy, because you can just copy and paste. And once you have all your different blocks made up and symbols and fonts and all that, all you can do is just copy and paste from all your different projects that you've done before. Although you can get a little complacent, and we see that sometimes with architects and on their drawings, and it's just totally brutal because they don't want to delete anything, and you just got pages and pages of redacted details that you're not supposed to use. But you think about just any business, how does a business grow? It becomes more efficient, right? Let's say, you used to cut a tree down with an axe, and now you got big saws. And then you've got big motorized machines that can just grind these things down. No different. People talk about AI right now, and I'm utilizing AI constantly. Like I've used AI. You heard the intro song at the beginning of this. That was me playing around for a couple days with AI and trying to figure out what I kind of wanted the theme song to be like. Playing around with different instruments. I got like 20 different versions of that I actually created. And I think that one's a pretty cool one, and it works good as uplifting. And it's cool because for me, that's kind of like the music late 90s, early 2000s, pop rock alternative, or punk rock, punk pop. I love that music. But going back to things like, I work in construction industry. I love it with a passion. Nothing I want to do. I love going to the buildings. I love seeing the progress. I love seeing the hard work that everybody puts in and the quality that they produce. We have to think like tools. We used to have corded tools. Now we got battery powered tools, and all the different techniques that we've learned over the years. Now we got you look back at the mystery of the pyramids, but we've got big tower cranes and all that stuff, and loaders and forklifts and machines to help us become more and more efficient at what we're doing. So you talk about some of the concepts of buying back your time and becoming more efficient and producing more, obviously, with that technology. all of a sudden you can produce a lot more because of the help that you've got. So I read Dan Martell's Buy Back Your Time book a year ago, and finished it in a day, and it was the most eye-opening thing for me. And like I said, I was kind of already doing all these techniques, and you hear about all the people talk about, 1% better every day and all this stuff, right? And it 100% true. But there comes a point where you can only be as good as the systems that you're working in. So it was about 3 years ago, I moved from working in the field to working in our office now, and I started doing construction scheduling for our projects, and no real experience in there. It's bad to say, but we hardly looked at these schedules. When's the end date? Rough milestones on when we wanted to do things. We kind of knew once you start building a structure, you kind of know like every 4 or 5 days you're on a floor, on to the next, on the next, on the next. You can kind of look at that. Okay, well, we're halfway up the building now. We got windows going in. We can start doing some finishes inside. Now the roof's going to go on. But then I started doing all the schedules for our projects, and it started with a dozen projects, and then our company I work for Malou Blamey Construction in Waterloo, Ontario. And all of a sudden, things started getting busy, and then it's like 12, 18, 22, 24, and at one point, I had over 30, and we're spread out all over the place. Like, I'm going hundreds into thousands of kilometers a week, driving all over the place so I can hit these sites, sit down with everybody, and make sure that these things are scheduled out properly. And I'll tell you, there was, middle of last year till probably about March of this year, it was a grind. It was a struggle. Like lots of overtime having to be put in above my regular work hours. And there's a thing about, when your back's against the wall, how do you react? And I see this with supers on site. I see this with contractors. I see it with homeowners, real estate investors, business people. Your back's against the wall and you just go, I don't know what to do. I'm done. And unfortunately, that's the time where you have to push through. And if you can push through that hump of thinking like I need to quit, then there's a light at the end of the tunnel, because now you've got, okay, I know now I can get through this. And the biggest thing is asking for help early. And I see this happen often where people aren't asking for help early enough. But also you get complacent, and you have to, like we just talked about, you have to make sure every single day that you're getting better and better and better. And something clicked. I had like 3 new schedules I had to create, and I had like a 5-day time frame to get these things done. And that involved a weekend. So like on a Wednesday, Thursday, I found out I had to do 2 new schedules, and then they threw another one last minute came my way. And so I had to work. I knew I was going to struggle to get this done throughout the week. So I spent about 13 hours on a Sunday straight. And I had spent about 4 or 5 hours on the Friday talking to one of the supers who had built one of the projects already. Just quick go through the drawings real quick and create a plan of attack for this thing. And we were kind of building a similar building already. So again, talking about the laziness, I already had a template made up, basically, that I could follow. I had to do some calculations for square footages because they're a little bit different. I called the concrete guys real quick that we used and just asked them rough durations that they were going to do. And then so Sunday, 13 hours straight, I sat in my basement. Now we talk about efficiencies. Right now down here, I've got a 32-inch ultra wide monitor. I have my MacBook. I have my iPad Air that's got keyboard and everything, touchscreen, the pen. And then I've got my Windows laptop from work. So my workflow is dialed in with those. So I can put my Windows laptop, I hook it up to my 32-inch widescreen. Across it, I can put my Microsoft project across the ultra wide, open it up real wide, and I had 3 different schedules open simultaneously. So I had the existing schedule, I had my base schedule, which I've already created a base, and it's got all the templates already in there. So if it's total precast, if it's poured in place, we got a wood structure one now for like CLT, NLT structures, hybrid structures, so poured walls, precast floors, block walls, precast floors. We even have some for if it's a Frankenstein structure, it's got some block walls and some poured walls and some steel. So I've got those templates already made. And so that's where, it took about 2.5 years to develop, and it's all trial and error, because I have to go through a full life cycle of multiple jobs to see if this schedule is even going to work. So like we're talking and heavy projects, like 20 plus projects, and they're not all the same. So I'd get through a precast. We were so lucky. We did 3, not lucky for the guys who were on the projects. They know who they were in Guelph that we had to do. But there were 3 precast projects. First one was a little bit different, but second and third. And so I was able to fine tune that total precast schedule with all the line items that we used and that we fine tuned. So I've got that ready. So like I said, I've got my base schedule. I've got an existing project that we've done, and then I've got another project that we did for that owner, so we kind of know what they were looking for. And then it's just dragging and dropping and copy and pasting, and because I got this ultra wide monitor, I got the 3 side by side, it is so smooth. Now when it comes to doing my drawing analysis, I've got the iPad, 10-inch iPad Air, and I set up my drawings on Google Drive next to each other. So I have architectural, I've got structural, mechanical, electrical, and then I don't worry about the civil or the landscaping right now. But the beauty is, because you have all 4 drawings right beside each other in the Google Drive, I'll slip to the first page on each, or the first floor on each one, and then I can just scroll across, swipe right, swipe right, like it's Tinder, and check out what elements are on each floor for mechanical, electrical, structural, and architectural. And then I've got my notepad made up, and I've got it's a system that works for me, how I lay everything out on my paper in multiple pages, and I flip back and forth, and I go through, make all the notes, and then I've got that going. I can snap pictures. I can take pictures of it, and everything is linked seamlessly to my MacBook Air or my MacBook Pro as well. So then I've got big pictures there, and then if I need to, I also have it linked with my notes to my Windows computer as well, so I can pull that up as well. So it's just a seamless operation. Now that took, like I said, 2.5 years to figure out that system. And so I didn't even realize I could get this schedule done. So I was like, oh my God, this could take me 3. And that's what I used to do. I used to spend 3 or 4 days doing something. Now, if you want to break it down into small pieces like that, that's fine. But what I found is when I start breaking into those little pieces and I do it over 3 or 4 days, I forget something, or I miss something, or if you don't finish something 100%, it used to be like when we used to do AutoCAD work, and it's like you want to make sure that you're done everything you need, or highlight and bubble in real big where you left off, so you don't forget something. So that was a Sunday. The following day, I had to do another schedule because they needed it for Thursday that week because it had to go out for tender. I get up at 7 in the morning and check a bunch of emails. And then by 9 a.m., and I hadn't done any drawing review aside from an hour with the guy at our office, I sit down and start doing the analysis. Now I'm still in scheduling because I worked till 11:30 the night before. So like I said, 13 hours straight. Worked till 11:30 p.m. the night before. Got that sent off, no problem. So then the Monday I'm working. I start at 9 a.m. I took 2 breaks to eat. I hit the washroom, I think, a couple times, but I hit two breaks throughout that day to eat, and I do a lot of days I do intermittent fasting, so I don't even eat till the afternoon. So, and I'll tell you, I started doing that. We were doing these 220 stories during COVID, and I started doing intermittent fasting and 1 meal a day then. So talking about trying to become better every day. I'll tell you, you become so efficient and effective when you don't have that brain fog from when you're eating. So I try to push off as late as possible in the day sometimes, depending on what I'm doing, and I'll just be super laser focused. Just some water and that's it. Sometimes I don't even need the water. And two breaks that day. I finished that at 12:30 a.m., which would be Tuesday morning. So 9 a.m. till 12:30. And I crushed the schedule. It was so good. I mean, sent it off to our guy. He had to do some minor changes, but and the next day I had to do another schedule. I wasn't as advanced. I think I started like 8 in the morning. I was done at like 6 or 7 at night. So that was like a 12-hour. Now, people may say that's crazy. Why are you putting in all those hours, this and that? But listen, you can say that. But for me personally, that was the moment that I truly realized what I could achieve if I when you put your mind to it, and that was a compilation of all this hard work and all these. I mean, you talk about like failures, right? That people have, and I used to think like I never fail at anything. Meanwhile, holy geez, I fail so many times. It doesn't matter if it's life or business. Failures like you wouldn't believe. But they're not true failures, because everything is a lesson, and everything that knocks you down, as long as you get back up, you keep going there. And I've reached out to so many people, let's say on like social media, or see if people want to do any like affiliate things with me. And I mean, I get so many, I don't even get people responding to me half the time. So you talk about rejection. But I don't ever count those as, I never looked at those as failures. And so talking about creating this like bigger and better version of myself that was then able to put in that work. And all of a sudden I realized that was the missing piece that I needed. And it was the put in a little bit more work now. So, the saying, short-term pain for long-term gain. And then I realized I knew exactly how to maximize what I was going to do for my job doing all these schedules. So I started we've got jobs like, 3 hours away from where I live here in South Kitchener, Ontario. Get jobs up in Midland, Stayner, Southampton, all this stuff. So I tried it out. I said, okay, I'm going to leave my house at 4:30 in the morning. If you go on my Instagram, I have it pinned there, what I did in that day. And so I left my house just after 4:30 in the morning, got up to Midland just after 7, and I was able to take the 401. I'm like 10 minutes to the 401. 401 up to the 400, almost no traffic, blitz up there, and like go through. And again, I've been slowly creating all these templates. I've got a template on my notes app. Just copy and paste every month, and it's like schedule updates May 2025. All the jobs are listed there, and then all the floors too. So if the job up in Midland, it's a five story, right? So I've got exterior, and then I've got floor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, and I just dictate everything. Dictate to text. I got my earbud in, and I'm just walking around. And because I keep going to these jobs too, I know what's supposed to be happening and when and where. And I try to just do a quick review the night before of what I'm doing, just so I kind of know, okay, or I look at we got bi-weekly reports and stuff that come out, so I can see pictures, okay, that's what they're up to right now. And that's another thing, we get these bi-weekly reports, and so whenever I see one come in, because it only takes 30 seconds to a minute to open it up in an email and double check it, so I just double check, and I'm like, they should be doing precast now, or that makes sense, they're pouring that floor. I can open up the schedules real quick because I got everything on my computer. Everything's all organized, super fast to open. I go, yeah, okay, they're within a week. Don't worry about that. But sometimes I'll see, oh my God, they haven't even done the roof yet. That was supposed to be done a couple weeks ago. Yeesh. I might have to reach out to the project manager or talk to somebody about that just to double check that they've got an action plan in place. So kind of a fail safe on that stuff. But I get up there and it's like just after 9 and I'm done. Now, I used to leave our office in like North Waterloo at like 7:30. I wouldn't even get up there till like 10. So all of a sudden, 9 o'clock's done. Boom. Then I get on the road, go to our job in Stayner. It's about like 45 minutes south from there. And same thing, got the template done. I'm walking through the floors and I'm just dictating, right to my phone. Drywall looks like about 50% done. Flooring started in 10 out of 20 rooms. So again, that's about 50% done. Priming started and kitchens are showing up. And I've got all those notes. And of course, our supers have all those notes too, and they've taken notes. But it's always good as a fail-safe because sometimes maybe they didn't reach that one corner or whoever, right? There might be, maybe they went 2 days ago and now something looks done, or or I talk to the guy. Sometimes I'll talk to the drywallers or the painters and go, hey, roughly what do you think you're done on this floor, just to talk to them. And then all of a sudden I'm done there, and it's like 11:30 already in the morning, and I'm like, okay, perfect. It's about another 45 minutes or so to get our job in Beaton, and we've got 4 massive projects in Beaton. The whole site's like $300+ million for all these buildings, so a couple $100 million already in active construction. And so I had learned that I tried to do this before, where I went there, in the afternoon. Everybody's so busy running around, and it's hard for them, right? And I understand that because I was in the field for 15+ years. And we realized that's not going to work. So then we decided, what if we just do Zooms the next day? So I'm going to come here. I'm going to take all my notes in the afternoon. I'm not going to bug you guys. Let me just take my notes. And when I'm done my notes, I'm going to go home. We'll hop on a Zoom call in a couple days, a day or two. And the beauty is there, because it's such a crazy big project, being able to have, again, the Microsoft project open, and guys can see in real time where we're changing things and the dates, and they kind of have a second eye for me just to make sure if something got changed, we can fix it right away. And then we got someone else taking notes, and just a nice, everybody working in rhythm with each other. And then it worked, right? But again, it's a trial and error thing. And then it's like, okay, it's like 2:30 in the afternoon right now, and I'm like, I only got like another 40 minutes or so. I can hit our job in Orangeville as well. Hit the job in Orangeville, same thing. Blitz around for like 10-20 minutes, take a bunch of pictures. I've got all that stuff done. Talk to the guys real quick. It's after 4. They're going home, and I go, cool, I go home too. And it's about an hour and a half for me to get home from there. So I'm gone from 4:30 a.m. and I'm home after 6. And people say, that's crazy. Why would you do that? And then when you start actually doing the amount of time I was, because that would take me, that was a 2 or 3 day job to hit those sites, because they're so far out of the way. And if you want to try and contain yourself to 9 hours, unfortunately, that's just what it is. And okay, cool. So I had to work, 13 and a half, 14 hours. But that would have taken, like I said, so all of a sudden, I took what could have been a 70-hour work week and compressed it down to 50 when I add in what I do the rest of the week. And same thing, we got jobs in Hamilton, but on the way home from Hamilton, what if I stop at our jobs in Guelph? It's about another 20 minutes added to my drive time, because I got to come back into Waterloo to get to our office, but I can hit that site, and same thing. What if we do a Zoom the following day? Because that one's a little bit trickier with how it's designed, and all of a sudden, boom, saved 40 minutes each way driving to Guelph on a separate day. And I just hit 3 projects instead of 2 that day, because we had 2 in Hamilton. And same thing, leave my house just before 6 in the morning, get to our first job at 7, do a quick walkthrough, take my notes. By the time I'm done, the super's done, setting everybody up for the day. We get hour and a half. Boom, we're done around 9 o'clock. I zip to our other job. Guys are taking break at 9:30. I'm doing my walk around while guys are on break. Now I'm not showing up at these weird times. And same thing, I'm done by about lunchtime. Then while everyone else is having lunch, I'm doing that travel. And again, because I'm a crazy guy and I'm on this intermittent fasting, also it doesn't even faze me half the time that I'm not even eating. I don't take a lunch. I just take water and maybe coffee with me, depending on how I'm feeling, just for fun sometimes. And so me doing that, I kind of get this crazy high that I was able to create this and do it in less time. And now all of a sudden, what used to be so stressful for me, I now have extra time again. And I have extra time. I'm doing more. I'm working more. I'm producing more, but I'm actually working less. And now, hey, who else needs help? Hey, this project's struggling. Why don't I just go over there and just alleviate some stress off that super? Let me go. I know that project. Let me just go, do more for him. Or, hey, these guys are struggling with this. I can go help with that, or I got some guys that, message me or whatever, they need some help with something, no problem. I can all of a sudden I can do that again because I created these efficiencies, and I'm seeing more, and I'm going to more sites and all this stuff in less time, which is pretty cool. And then the one day I thought, I've been using, stuff like ChatGPT and Grok AI and Copilot. Those are my three I started using every day, and I was using them for taxes and stuff. And then one day I just asked ChatGPT, I said, hey, I'm a construction scheduler. How can I increase my efficiency even more from what I'm doing now? And I threw my spreadsheet in there that I use for tracking on site. I gave it a breakdown of everything I'm doing. And then it just gave me a bunch of different ways to do things and utilize things more and speed things up. And then all of a sudden I was like, hey, wait a minute, I'm trying to track a delay. Let me take a picture of what I did. Let me upload it into ChatGPT and say, hey, is this the best way to track this delay? And then it would say, you can track this way. And if you click here, that'll make it as an estimated timeline because it's a delay right now. And all of a sudden, I've now created even more efficiencies. And then I was like, okay, cool. I'm helping train somebody a little bit with scheduling as well. So I'm voice to texting ChatGPT while I created a brand new schedule. And everything that I was doing step by step, I was just dictating the whole time that I was creating my new schedule and setting it up and setting my baseline and saving it and all this stuff, start times and calendars and all that. And in the end, I had this long dictated form of how I do things. And then I just told ChatGPT, take all this information. And as an expert teacher in Microsoft Project, I need to take the information that I did to create a new schedule with my personalized created base schedule and create a step-by-step, basically standard operating procedure for teaching somebody how to do this. So we're talking all the way back to, what's that, 25 years ago when I was a kid at McDonald's, just looking at these little like checklists that we used to have at McDonald's. We'd like print off checklists to teach somebody how to do their job there, from making a hamburger to cleaning a lobby. And now I've got this step-by-step checklist basically so that anybody can follow exactly what I did. So if something happened to me or they need to start a new project, that is done. And then I do the same thing now when I do an update, a schedule update. I talk to it and tell it what to do, and boom, now I've got another standard operating procedure on how we're going to update a schedule. And then I started going, well, how else can I be more efficient? How can I reduce keystrokes? And then you start learning about different automated processes and coding that you can do. So it's like when I open up a Microsoft project schedule and I rename it to today's date, it now scans my computer and goes, is there a Word document as well labeled this? And if there isn't, create it and then have it ready to go so that any changes I make, I can create a narrative of that. But on top of that, every time I create a change on Microsoft Project, I can then tell it, I need you to input that line item into my Word document so that I don't have to type it. So every time I change the words, the name of a task, the start date, the end date, the duration, put it here. And then on top of that, if you're cloud-based with Microsoft Word, that's now sitting in a cloud. So anybody worldwide in your organization can see the changes happening to the schedule as they happen. And for some people, that I talking gibberish to them. But for me, I just got like such a kick out of the fact that I was able to figure that out just talking to some AI on a computer and creating all those. And that's just a little bit, but there's so much other tech out there. There's 360 cameras now that integrate with AI, and if you've got your 3D models of your building, you can have anybody walk through a building. You can have a robot dog walk through the building on the path you create it, and it'll create all those pictures. AI will analyze it. It'll look at the 3D design, and it'll actually tell you the percentages that are complete now. So like tech is just growing so fast, and it's like I was just showing someone at work all the things, just easy things you could do with ChatGPT, creating thumbnails and poster boards. I helped my wife create her company, Sable & Co. They do custom candles and wax melts. And just chatting, they're like, hey, we want to create a company. What can we do? These are our kids' names. These are, we're 2 nurse moms. And then it's like, oh, well, your kids' all initials are SABLE. Okay, well, Sable & Co. because Sable & Company, right? It's family business type of thing. Sable & Co. Okay, we want, we're female empowerment. We like flowers. Boom, throw it into Playground AI. It created a concept for us. Didn't like that. Like this. Try it again. Make it circular. All of a sudden, boom. Love that logo. Okay, boom. Add font below it. Sable & Co. Okay, perfect. Love it. Then it's like, okay, well, we need to create a web. We don't want to create a website, but we want to have the website domain. How do we? Again, ChatGPT. How do we buy a website domain? Okay, Google Workspace. We can buy a website through Google. Hover.com. That's what is the cheapest place to buy a website? Hover.com is the cheapest in Canada. Boom. Okay, no problem. It's like $13 to buy the thing. How do I integrate it into my Google Workspace? And it gave me step by step how to do it. Okay, cool. How do we now create the custom email? Okay, here we go. You need the tier plan. This is $9 a month. Create your custom email. If you want to add more people a month, it's this much. Okay, cool. Hey, how do I integrate this properly with Meta Business? And how do I link? I couldn't remember how to link Instagram to a business page on Facebook. And again, AI. Boom, 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 boom. So fraction of the time. And then it's like, okay, my wife and her friend, Jamie, is my wife, Steph, her friend, Jamie, Sable & Co. is their company. Okay, we want to make a brand. Okay, so we're going to make these wax melts. We want to call them Melties. Okay, again, Playground AI. This is what we're doing. We want to create these things, Melties. Boom. Created a bunch of different things. We just kept playing with it until we found something that we like. And then it's like, okay, perfect. Use that exact image. And now we've got strawberry melties and we've got blueberry ones and waffle ones and this and that. And all of a sudden it made all the images that we needed. And then my wife's they got their big debut at this show coming up. Again, tell AI. We're 2 hardworking moms with kids and we love doing candles. And these are all the things we do. Creates a bio for them. We make a couple changes to it. We throw it up in Canva. And all of a sudden, in a fraction of the time that we used to, we've got all this marketing material done. And all of a sudden, we look so much more professional because of what we've produced. And we've created all these efficiencies. And all of a sudden, now we're spending more time doing what we love. And this is the whole point of, people complain about AI, but the whole point is let it do all the hard work. Sometimes I got 2 or 3 different things it's doing. I got Playground AI going. I got ChatGPT. I've got Grok. And these things are all doing things simultaneously. And the power of the phone that we hold in our hands, just being able to create all of this and then just seamlessly throw it up. Hey, do you guys like what this looks like? No? Okay, change this. And they can all seamlessly integrate together, with clouds and all that stuff that's out there with tech. And we can easily work together. So, that's all pretty much what I wanted to talk about, and I probably talked about more than I thought I was going to. But I just wanted to get out there and explain the power that's out there and the power you have and what you can truly become when you put your mind to it and you want to work harder. And you decide you want to be a pro about it. And I'm big into being a pro no matter what you do. Build it like a pro, rehab it like a pro, act like a pro. Just be a pro in all that you do. Be professional, be courteous, and be a pro.